Hi, welcome to another episode of EMDR with Alice. Today we're going to talk about working specifically with blocking beliefs, but how to do EMD with a blocking belief. So I want to just kind of walk through the steps of a technique that I've used that I have found to be really helpful, and maybe you'll find it to be helpful as well. So if I have a client that seems to be really struggling with a specific blocking belief, and maybe we've worked with a couple of memories around that, but it still seems to be a theme that kind of comes up and they kind of get stuck in. And so what I've done is I've invited them to take a moment and see if they can just be still and connect with that blocking belief. Again, we've already identified what it is. And so I have them be still with that blocking belief, identify where they feel it in their body, and then I just ask if there seems to be an image that's connected to that. I also ask, does the blocking belief seem to be coming from within them, or does it seem to be coming from someone else? And oftentimes what can happen is they will identify a caregiver or someone in their early years that this blocking belief seems to be coming from. And then I explore that blocking belief and ask for all the messaging. So once we get an image of maybe who it seems to be coming from, either it's from them or from someone else or something else, once they've kind of identified that image, which you don't have to have an image, but it's helpful if you do for EMD purposes. Then I ask, what are all the messages that seem to be coming from this image that are around that similar message of the blocking belief? And I write those messages down. And oftentimes they can be messages that are very specific to the client. So I ask for those verbal messages that seem to be coming from this image or this person or from inside of them. And then I'll ask, what are the nonverbal messages that you seem to be receiving from this image or this person or this internal kind of source? And I write those down. And then I ask, is there any meta messages that are kind of coming from this image, this person, or this internal source? And I write those down. And then I read them all back to the client and make sure they're right. If we need to adapt any of them, change any of them, take any away, add anything else. And I read through it again, make sure that all the messages are correct that we've kind of identified. And then I say, okay, so let's just notice that. And as you look at that image and all the messages that are coming from that image on a scale of 0 to 10, how disturbing does it feel to you now? Once they identify that said, I say, now just bring up that image of that source, those messages, and follow my fingers. And then I do EMD with it, where you do 8 to 10 passes, stop and check said, another 8 to 10 passes, stop and check said. And we do that with that blocking belief and the source of the blocking belief. What I found is that clients will start describing things like that source the image seems further away, that person feels further away, I'm not as connected to that anymore, it's not as loud. These are kind of things that people will start identifying or recognizing. And then as that said drops down, we want to try to get it again as low as it can go. If we can get it to at least like a 3 or lower, that's really good. But I try to go as low, even if they get to a 3, I try to see if we can go even lower with it. And then once it seems like it's as low as it can go, then we can kind of just check in overall and just kind of see what do they notice is different. And then if we're working on a particular memory, we'll go back and finish working on that memory. Just a little tool that I found to be really helpful. Sometimes I've paused phase 4 if we're really stuck in a blocking belief, and I do this kind of adjustment into EMD with that belief. Sometimes I've done it in a phase 2 or a phase 8 where we're checking in and the blocking belief is still kind of keeps coming up, and so I may do this specific little intervention with that belief in the context of our phase 8 before we're going back into a memory that we've been working on. And like I said, you can also try it in phase 2 as a prep. There's lots of indicators for doing EMD on some specific little pieces of things that a client might be struggling with as a form of preparation for more full protocol as you get into the treatment plan and finish the treatment plan. This is another episode of EMDR with Alice. I hope it's helpful, and I look forward to talking to you next time.